Hey there, it's Eric the Puzzler. I'm going to take this solution walkthrough pretty fast, so hit pause if you need to catch up or comment with any questions. Alright, so the Philly Treasure Hunt 2025 launch video ends with this three-part riddle. The solution to the first part is cherry, as in popping your cherry and pretty pleased with a cherry on top. So we're dealing with idioms, meaning the solution to the second part is street, as in street smart, street cred, and streets ahead. The last part is pier, as in take a long walk off a short pier. But there's a little bit more, since after the riddle in the video, the background shrinks down into a gradient square, seemingly indicating that's what you need to see. And sure enough, if you go to Cherry Street Pier and look around, you find that exact image. Actually, you could find 14 of them, sprinkled all over the pier. I did provide a bit of a clue by using some of these squares in a video before hanging them up. If you're wondering where that pesky O that you probably couldn't find was, it was hidden here, thanks to the installers who helped me set up this part of the hunt. So once you gather all of the squares and put them in order, you get the message, Pockets of Light. To help you interpret this, I specifically placed the final square in this particular location, right above an interesting art installation called Pockets of Light. It's part of a project I created with textile artist Julie Woodard a few years ago, and since it's still on display at Cherry Street Pier, I decided to incorporate it into the hunt. After scanning the QR code, a little searching on the webpage reveals this link hidden at the bottom. But it's password protected, so it must be the first checkpoint. Luckily, the text after the link says password genus. If you click on the plant button, you can find the genus of the plant that Julie used in the artwork, so the password is Echinacea. The first checkpoint displays a graphic and says that you'll need to save it for later. So let's take a screenshot of that and set it aside for now. After entering team information, the hunt continues with this text and a large map of the Delaware River watershed. It's just a blank map, but the text says that DRWC posted an itinerary in their press room. There are a few ways to find this, but basically, on the DRWC website, the press release in which the treasure hunt is announced ends with a strange 7-day itinerary. On the left, I've got that itinerary, and on the right, I've got the map open in Photoshop, which is what I used to actually create this puzzle. To solve it, you find all the points identified in the itinerary on the map, and then connect them. To save time, I'm going to just turn on the layer with those lines, and it spells out the message P68 sign. Ignore the red N, that's just a meaningless artifact from my design process. Okay, so since the treasure hunt is sponsored by DRWC, P68 refers to Pier 68, a park in South Philly. If you go there and check out the sign, on the back you'll find this graphic with 3 components. The first says to scan the area to see what DRWC has in store for the future. And very close by are a number of signs talking about the upcoming South Wetlands Park. If you scan the QR code on those signs, remember it said to scan the area, you're taken to a page where you can find a 3D rendering of the project made by a company named Olin. By exploring inside the rendering, you can find the exact boardwalk section shown on the puzzle with a QR code at the question mark. That's the link to the second checkpoint. Then you need to search the rendering for the exact configuration of kayaks shown on the puzzle. When you do, a dock at the question mark says password, number of shipping containers. There's a cargo ship in the river, so you count the number of containers on it and enter the number 73 as the password. You get another graphic to save for later, so let's take a screenshot. After entering team information, the hunt continues with this page, which appears to provide descriptions of several sculptures identified in multiple languages. This one takes some serious analysis, but I'm going to cut to the chase by pointing out the clue at the top of the page, where the sponsorships link has the letters SSHP in bold. SSHP is Spruce Street Harbor Park, and you have to go there to make sense of the rest of the puzzle. You won't find the sculptures there, but you will find plaques from the International Sculpture Garden. This one was blocked when I made this video, but 3 match the ones in the puzzle, and a 4th provides the password, totem, since the bottom of the puzzle indicates that the title of the 4th piece in English is the password. However, one word in each description in the puzzle has been altered from what's on the actual plaques. And the key to ultimately solving this puzzle lies in the header, which you can translate from Hindi to read, What 3 words? This is a clue to visit the wonderful mapping website What 3 words, which grids the entire planet and identifies each 3 meter by 3 meter square with 3 unique words. The words in the descriptions that were altered from the plaques, thin, normal, moral, are assigned to a What 3 word square located at Spruce Street Harbor Park. Now, this was hands down the hardest part of the entire hunt because the hiding spot I found at thin, normal, moral was just too good. But I added some arrows to help draw attention to the fact that you have to stick your phone inside a railing to find this hidden graphic. I'll admit the next step is a bit of a leap, but if you had explored Spruce Street Harbor Park thoroughly enough to find this, you had probably also already found the Hope Fence on the back of the Hilton. It contains 20 panels with this exact number of squares, so you can count to the 14th panel and find a lock at the position of the green lock on the graphic, which has a QR code on the back. In case you've forgotten, the password is Totem from the 4th sculpture. Checkpoint 3 reveals another graphic that we'll screenshot for later. Okay, after entering team info, you arrive at a puzzle displaying a bunch of diagrams of piers. The instructions give you different criteria to organize them by, and when you sequence the piers according to each of those criteria, the letters that identify the piers spell out this message. Move around the spaces and you get something more coherent. Bearings under 4 o'clock Pulaski's ellipse. This is referring to General Pulaski Park, which you can see on satellite view has an elliptical feature. If you interpret it as a clock, 4 o'clock would be about here, where this light pole is. So you have to visit the park, find the ellipse, and look under the light pole, where you discover this message. This was probably the second hardest moment in the hunt, and at least one team brute forced their way through this without actually figuring out the mechanism for completing these coordinates with the correct digits. What's going on here is that the letters are an anagram of the word strokes, which is a clue that the strange shape of the letters is important. Each letter represents the digit equal to the number of strokes used to form the letter. For example, T has 2 strokes, so it represents a 2, and so on. But what to do with the empty space? Well, there are no strokes there, so it's a 0. These coordinates point to a location just a few feet from the 4 o'clock light post, and on a pole there is a QR code linking to checkpoint 4. But what's the password? Well, there was actually one last feature in the pier diagrams from earlier that wasn't one of the criteria in the instructions, the cracks. If you arrange the cracks from left to right, the piers spell out the word superb. That password unlocks checkpoint 4, where there's another graphic to screenshot for later. Now we get a video, which flashes a message one word at a time. But some words are shown for a long time, and there are gaps between some words. Long story short, the message says, the secret checkpoint must be beat, but only one team will complete. Watch the season Eyes Anew to hopefully unlock a clue. Once again, there's a lot going on here, and this is designed to be very challenging since we're getting toward the end of the hunt. The different lengths of time that the words flash is Morse code for the word blinking. The capitalization of season is obviously very important too, and the only thing that I do in season so far is Keys to Philly. So if you go back and watch all the Keys to Philly videos in Season 2, which culminated in the launch of the treasure hunt, you'll notice that I'm blinking a little strangely in them. The blinks are also Morse code, which across 14 key videos spell out password shirts. Yes, I began laying the groundwork for this puzzle 14 months in advance. But the password is not simply the word shirts, of course. It's actually aloha, since I wore a different Hawaiian shirt, or aloha shirt as they're also known, in each key video. This completes checkpoint 5, providing one final graphic to collect with a screenshot. But after submitting team info, the continue button takes you to a secret 6th checkpoint, as foretold by the previous puzzle. So it's time to gather up those screenshots. There's a challenging clue in the text of the puzzle, but once again, I suspected that if you got this far, you had likely found the flags on the gangway to Moshulu, a ship moored near Penn's Landing. This provides the correct order for the flags you've collected, which can now provide digits in the correct order to fill in the coordinates, using the 8 white numbers to fill in the 8 white gaps. These coordinates point to a strange location, the very end of an elevated road that has been partially demolished to build the I-95 Cat Park. But if you trust yourself and the puzzle, and walk all the way to the end of the road, you find a black lockbox with a 4-digit code. The 4 black numbers remaining on the Moshulu flags, 7491, unlock it, revealing a QR code that concludes the hunt. But remember, the Morse code puzzle said that only one team could complete. That's because I left a little souvenir inside the lockbox for the first team to complete the hunt. It informed them they won and provided a private URL to cross the finish line with, as well as the 6th and final Moshulu flag.
I was looking at this and I was like, oh, this is the last flag. And I was so happy.